Yo, what is going on, everybody? I'm here with another Frontier Signals update, and just want to kind of run through some of the basics as well as go into some of the more advanced stuff in terms of what I've been a part of, what I've been working on for quite a bit now, and why it is so important to me. And it's not just things that I'm interested in, like I truly feel like these fields and some of these communities that I've been finding has been absolutely part of a higher purpose. And, we find ourselves in quite an age on this planet, don't we? And, once you get a certain point of kind of waking up to things, there's really no going back. And it's pretty much full steam ahead. But again, let's just kind of run through some of the basics here. So the sun has been pretty quiet yet again, which is good. But we do have this pretty large coronal hole that is stretching pretty much all the way down south, going all the way up here. So this is just now starting to face us. So within the next couple days or so, we should be seeing the enhanced solar wind from that. And depending on where the BZ and some of these other things are, we'll be expecting some little bit of geomagnetic instability there, which, normally wouldn't be much of an issue, besides the fact that our magnetic field has been weakening, and the strength of it has weakened pretty much about halfway, which is very significant. That's why when we do get solar activity, we've been seeing auroras at mid to lower latitudes, which is not just rare, but it basically shouldn't even be possible with minor solar activity, such as what we've been seeing. So even this coronal hole will definitely have an impact when that solar wind does reach us. And, we'll be seeing something in the KP index spiking up, probably in the yellow at some point, of course, depending on what else we get. But other than that, that's what's been going on there. Now, in the earthquake world, while we've also been seeing some things to watch out for. So there's been a 6.2 striking down here in Chile. Let me just bring that up here. Let's see, I already had a tab open for it. But we can take a look here. It's a pretty low populated area, so there's not a whole lot to worry about in of itself. But then again, I took a look at the kind of data, bringing them to this conclusion. And yet again, we see some possible discrepancies here. So if they would be transparent about what the USGS is finding here with their result of a 6.2, then it wouldn't be so clouded. But, we got to look down here at the other station details. And this one comes out at a 6.4. And this whole list tops off at a 7, with quite a few upper range magnitudes listed and quite a few mid-range magnitudes listed. So pretty much based off of this, we can easily assume that this was definitely a mid-range 6, not so much of a lower range. So, that could definitely correlate to the deep 6.2 with other factors involved with the pressure that was already over here. And again, we can still expect to see more activity in the Indo-Australian plate. So if we take things back here the whole entire week, looking at what we've gotten here, we basically see what we could expect, which is all of the newer, fresher earthquakes in white popping up in between all the zones where the older quakes were. So in between all the yellow and the pink is where we see most of the new activity, which is pretty much on point with what Dutch Sense has in his forecasting methods. You want to look for the midpoints, and you want to look at the movement and directional movement between the plates. So again, this is still pretty much spot on. Now if we drag this down a little bit, we can see here on the west coast, over the past week, we've still had quite a bit of activity overall. And this 5.8 that's here off the coast of Oregon. This was actually reported by the Canadian agency. So we have yet another pretty significant earthquake off the coast, not reported by the USGS, but instead put on a different earthquake feed. So this is becoming more and more common as we see more unprecedented levels of activity. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, is these different agencies not really working in our best favor to know exactly what's going on. So that's kind of where those things are at. A few significant earthquakes and more to come. Now to get into the kind of more advanced section of what I wanted to cover here. So when this website goes live, in the resource link section, this bottom tab here is definitely very important on the kind of advanced level, and again ties into what I feel like is a lot of my higher purpose coming through, you know, even just making these videos. Like, I don't really have the voice for this, I don't really have the structure going for me quite yet on making these videos, but again, I just feel like there's a level of importance here. So, you know, I've been getting a lot more involved with some of these communities, especially the one on solarkillshot.org. So this is a paid subscription networking forum for basically discussing a lot of these theories. So even right here on the main feed here, we've got a video on Hapgood's theory, which, you know, really back in the mid 1900s really sparked a lot of the modern level catastrophism that we see, a lot of the theories going around, and a lot of the evidence that supports those theories. So, you know, there's a lot of survival groups being created on here, people looking for essentially their own tribe, so to speak. And I won't really go too deep into it, but I guess I can kind of run through some of the activity I've had on here. You know, I've got quite a few posts, a lot of comments, and, you know, a lot of dedication that I feel towards some of these people. And some of them I've even met in person and have daily chats with them online. There's a lot of wonderful people here, a lot of really down-to-earth people as well. It's not all just crazy tin hat conspiracy land, which it's not really a tin hat anymore. It's more like a crown of knowledge as these things slowly come true more and more. So if we go down here, there's somewhere I made a archive post, because there's not currently really a archive section which has a lot of different posts on here. So I basically made my own, and really it's kind of the tip of the iceberg, but I tried to include as many really good posts in here as I could. So I'm not really going to be going deep into any of these, but you can kind of see we got quite a lot of stuff covered here. And so anything from science to homesteading, gardening, all those kind of things. There's quite a lot of information here on radio, EMF kind of stuff here, ham radios, as well as the difference between EMP and CME, which is extremely important. You know, especially in the prepping world, there's a level of information that is absolutely needed if you are a prepper in any sort. Because, you know, the last thing you would want is basically to have all your preps go to waste, or your homesteading community basically fall short because there was one or two or even a dozen or more key aspects that you were not keyed in on. So there's just really a whole lot of really good discussions here and different resources. So, you know, I just made this post to kind of help these people out, get the organization and new people as well. So that's kind of a lot of what I've been doing for the past couple years, and it's just been slowly building up more and more as people come together, more information comes out, and, you know, we all just kind of work together to basically recreate a new future, as this current one seems to be absolutely falling apart. So, and again with that, I will show the magnetic declination viewer from the NOAA, because, well, the thought of a pole shift is no longer just a thought. It is a very real thing that is happening as the North Pole basically skyrockets towards Siberia, and the South Atlantic anomaly down here basically just keeps growing more and more as the poles shift away from that. So with that, I think that'll pretty much about wrap it up for this video here. I want to try to get away from the RuneScape music and start implementing my own tracks, because, well, it's really just hard getting like royalty-free music to cover over a video, and for right now that's just been my best option as of now. I do have some music that I've made. Most of it, though, I wouldn't really say would be very good for background music, so I'll probably have to start working on that. There's just so many things I've been doing, from creative endeavors to scientific prospects, and of course this coding project, which has also taken months in the making. So I just kind of bounce around between different things here and there until eventually these projects get done. But yeah, my mind is also just really split between so many things that, even just making these videos takes a lot out of me, because there's just so many different possible things I could talk about, and I basically just want to bring forth what I find to be the most important at any given moment. Even that, of course, does include the gaming community and different kind of social or even geopolitical aspects. So yeah, there's just a lot going on, but I'm here for it, and I've been trying my best, and I'll continue to do so. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you all in the next.